Okay, so perfect. We are live. Nice. Thanks a million to everyone. Thanks a million, Kunal, for joining me today. But before the thanks and before anything else, a big, big, big sorry. It was my fault. Everybody, I just want everybody to know that time zones are a little bit difficult for me. I realize that now, and we got the time zone mixed up. So hopefully this won't happen again. But yeah, finally we're here, and we're going to be streaming today about Hacktoberfest. We're going to talk about what it is, why it started, how fun it can be, and how Komiser is participating in it for the first time. But before we get any of that, I just want to introduce Kunal. Kunal is a great community member and contributor. And yeah, just would you like to introduce yourself?
Yep, sure. Hey everyone. I'm not sure if I can see the chat because my laptop is lagging a bit here, but I hope that there are people joining in. And yeah, thanks Jake for inviting me here. Really, really appreciate it. And my name is Kunal Verma. I am from India and I am a student right now. I'm a pre-final year student studying in university, computer science. And I am a DevOps and open source advocate. That means I really love helping people out in getting started into open source communities, cloud native, and all that amazing stuff, because it's just amazing to get involved and seeing your growth when you get involved. But apart from this, I'm also a part of the Cube Simplify community. I'm a community manager there, and there as well we create content, write blogs, and again the aim is to get people involved, get more and more people involved in the cloud native community, because you can never have enough contributors to a particular project, right? And yeah, apart from this, I've been involved in the tailwarden community, contributing to Komiser, advocating, and helping people out in terms of getting started. And this is again one of those initiatives where we will tell you how you can take part in Komiser. And Komiser is actually taking part in Hacktoberfest. So we are totally excited and totally, very happy to have you here. So yeah, that was about me.
Nice. And hello, everyone. I'm Jake, community manager here at Tailwarden. And yeah, it's great to have Kunal here because Kunal is really, really good at introducing folks to new things in the open source world. And I must admit, I'm a newbie when it comes to Hacktoberfest. This is going to be my first time participating. This is going to be my first time as a maintainer of a project that is participating in Hacktoberfest. As you probably already know, and if you don't know already, Hacktoberfest takes place over the month of October, and we're already at October 9th. So we've already started to see a lot of movement inside the Komiser project, and that's just really, really cool to see. So for a newcomer like me, learning about Hacktoberfest, how it works, how it can help a project has been incredible, how it can help contributors and their reputations as open source contributors. That has been just absolutely magical. It's really great for you to be able to give us a little bit more info, because if I'm not mistaken, Kunal, this is definitely not your first Hacktoberfest. And I was wondering if you could just give us a little bit of a backstory, tell us a little bit more about Hacktoberfest in general.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, this is definitely not my first. I mean, I still remember my first one. It was in 2020 or 2021, if I remember correctly. I was in my freshman year, and that was the very first time I contributed to Hacktoberfest. And for those of you who don't know, if you contribute to Hacktoberfest, I'll tell you what Hacktoberfest is exactly. But if you contribute, you get a T-shirt. That is not something that you'll get this year, but we used to get T-shirts back at the time, and I contributed because I wanted a T-shirt. I didn't contribute because I wanted to, contribute to open source. I actually didn't know about open source before Hacktoberfest, and I contributed and I got a T-shirt, and that was, I was on cloud nine at that particular moment. But yeah, I mean, for those who aren't aware of Hacktoberfest, this is an annual event which is hosted by DigitalOcean and with collaboration from other communities, other companies. And the overall main aim is to get more people into open source, right? Now you'll ask, why, Kunal, why are such companies supporting these particular events to get people involved? because I believe that open source is the answer for a lot of questions out there. And especially, not sure if you would have heard of this particular term, but I mean, this is a very famous thing that goes around on social media is interviewer asks you from front, hey, you need experience to get a job. And but you say from the front, hey man, I need job to get an experience. This sort of thing goes around while, and open source is actually the answer for this. Open source is the way for you to contribute to industry grade projects, production level projects, while sitting at your home. You can contribute to global projects and interact with a global audience. So the overall main aim of Hacktoberfest is to conduct an event in the month of October. That's why it's called as Hacktoberfest. And it's an annual event hosted by DigitalOcean every year in the month of October. And the main aim is to encourage more people to get involved into open source. So the whole rule is that how can the communities make it easy for contributors to get started, right? So the rule of Hacktoberfest, it's not a competition, it's an event. But the rule here is you have got to make 4 PRs in any project that you like, right? And why 4 PRs? Because the companies actually thought that, hey, let's keep the number small so that we don't overwhelm the contributors to make big contributions, right? That's why the number has been kept small. And I believe this is a really great way for you to get involved in the overall open source ecosystem. So if you're someone who doesn't even know what is open source, who was just exploring, and you came on this particular stream and you're wondering, hey, what is open source? How can I get started? Hacktoberfest is the answer for you. That is how I got started, and that is how a lot of people who you will see in the open source community got started into this open source ecosystem, right? So that is what Hacktoberfest is. Now, I mentioned that a lot of communities and a lot of organizations actually participate, right? How they participate, they label their issues at Hacktoberfest, and which we are going to talk about a little bit later in this section. But why do these organizations participate in the first place, right? It's a really nice way for them to get new contributors like me, right? Who are just getting started, who are hungry for learning, right? And who are looking to get that kind of industrial level experience while sitting at their home, right? It's a very nice way to get more contributors. It's a really nice way for projects to expand their developer communities, right? And Hacktoberfest, the organization, actually helps these organizations, these companies who wants their open source projects to be open for contributions. They provide sort of event kits. They help you organize these kind of events that you're seeing right now. And they also provide a lot of experts and guidelines and tips to help you get more contributors. So everything here is focused on getting more contributors, increasing the developer community, and getting the innovation from all over the world. But yeah, I mean, Komiser is participating this time, so I'll let Jake share his thoughts about why do you Jake, why do you think that how Komiser would benefit from being getting involved in Hacktoberfest, and what do you think about this?
Yeah, perfect. Thanks for that framing, because I think it's an important one, especially when we're talking about taking a step back, as you mentioned. Why open source? Like, why is it so important? And if you are a person that is only a newcomer to open source, why is it relevant? How is that going to really make a difference in your life as a developer? And the reality is that up until you are exposed to the world of open source, you don't realize what an ecosystem exists of companies, of tools, of platforms that really make up our day-to-day. This isn't some just obscure edge of the internet of people just working on side projects. No. Open source projects make up the infrastructure and make up the stacks of companies like all over the world, very, very kind of impactful projects. And how cool is it that we all have access to make an impact? When I realized that when I was studying at the time to get to know Kubernetes a little bit better, that I could actually make contributions to affect this thing that I was studying about. Like, a lawyer doesn't have the chance to change the constitution of their country, right? But an open source developer really, really does. So So from the side of the contributor, there's a lot to gain, especially what you were talking about before. We're talking about um, in Spanish. There's a because I'm also half Spanish. There's this saying that it's the snake that bites its own tail, and that's that process of not having experience. So then you're not employed, but how are you going to be employed without experience?
Quite a few.
And
Yeah.
exactly. So in the open source world gives you the opportunity to build up experience without being fully employed by a project. And you can really get a good few reps in. And it's also the issue that when you're learning or when you want to level up your skills, someone like most people would say, just work on a project, any side project. And people say like, but what side project am I going to do? Like everything, like all the calculators and all the kind of to-do list apps have been created. Like what side project? Well, what better than working on a real life project in the real world by going over to GitHub and by finding those open source projects. So in a roundabout way, my answer to you, like what do the projects themselves get out of it? I think it's just a massive win-win. The contributors get real reps working and learning on real projects. And what the projects get is recognition. We get help, because if you go to any project, which is an open source project on GitHub, you'll find the issues section, which is one of the tabs in any repository, and the project will tell you all of the things that need to be addressed. So we're going to get help with the issues that are open. We're going to get a lot more contributors, and potentially, I mean, we create projects for them to be used, right? So hopefully we'll get not only contributors but potential users of the project. So it's all about visibility. It's all about getting the word out there, and the most important thing is that it really is a win-win for both parties. So that's what I would say on that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think a community plays a very important role in any project out there. And I like the point that you mentioned about a side project, because I believe that Komiser actually started as a side project, right? So could you maybe expand on that a little bit, and how the community has laid the path for Komiser to what Komiser is now today? I think there is a massive growth there.
Exactly. I mean, it just goes to show that any side project can turn into a massive project with making real impact. So the Telwarden CTO, Mohammed Labwardi, he was working at a previous company. In the past, he was the head of DevOps, and he was managing a multi-cloud infrastructure with just a mammoth amount of resources, and just keeping a clear inventory from hour to hour of what provisioned, what's not, where is it, was very painful. And of course, managing the costs was another additional headache. So Komiser was born from Mohammed's need to have a better solution, a better answer to manage multi-cloud infrastructure. So that started in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. There was a bit of a pause up until early 2020, when there was some new excitement and a new effort put in through Mohammed and one of the very first contributors. And then in 2021, Tailwarden was built in order to help Komiser grow and to expand the cloud version, the enterprise version of Komiser, which is called Tailwarden, which has a few different features and a few different expansions. But a lot of the core features can be found in Komiser itself.
Yeah, I mean, to the audience, you can definitely see the power of any side project that you build and you make it open source. And you never know, it could turn out to be a company, and you could turn out to be a CTO of that company. Okay, So I think we are going to talk about more about Komiser and how you can get involved. But I'd like to right now share my screen and show you what is Hacktoberfest and all the things that Hacktoberfest, the team of Hacktoberfest, actually provides for the new contributors who are getting started. What do they provide you with all the resources and stuff, and how you can get started. I'll just share my screen and show you all, and then we'll move on to how you can get involved in Komiser as well. Just a second. I think yeah, let me know if my screen is visible. I hope it's visible, Jake.
It is indeed, yeah. We can see your screen.
Cool. So this is the main website of Hacktoberfest. By the way, Hacktoberfest, the theme of Hacktoberfest changes every year. So every year they have some kind of a new interesting theme. I'll tell you, it's all about celebrating open source, right? They have created a sort of a 1 month of event where they're celebrating open source, kind of like a fest or kind of like a festival, right? So this is pretty great. And every year they have an interesting theme. I don't know the name of the theme that is this year, but you can definitely see it from the website. The website is looking pretty cool. Maybe Jake, you can also share the link for everyone to view on the chat as well, so they can definitely go ahead. But the special thing about this year's Hacktoberfest is that they are celebrating their 10th year. So it has been almost 10 years since Hacktoberfest has been going on every year, and every year the numbers of contributors have been increasing. So if you scroll down, you will see. So Hacktoberfest has grown from 676 participants in 2014 when it got started, and you can see more than 100K participants are participating in Hacktoberfest, right? That is a crazy big number, right? And think of the amount of projects that have been participating, and the amount of inclusivity and the growth you would see getting involved in such communities, right? Getting involved in such communities, meeting global people, and think of the amount of value it would add to your resume. Like if you're a student like me, if you are someone looking out to change their job, if you're someone looking out to test their skills, for example, if you are someone who has learned something new and you want to test it out, open source, contributing to an open source project related to that tech stack is the way to go, right? And you'll be able to test your skill in real world. So think of the value that these open source communities actually provide you. So mainly it's organized by DigitalOcean, right? But there are a lot of organizations now that support it. Mainly right now we have Illa Cloud and Apprite for this particular season, but you'll definitely see a lot of more organizations are sponsoring the events that are going on, right? So you can definitely check out the whole website, but I want to focus on this section, participation, because this is something that is important for the contributors. And here you'll find all the information that you need to get involved in Hacktoberfest this month. Everything that you need, from guidelines, from how you can participate, how to find a project on GitHub. So this is an important part. You have to find the Hacktoberfest topic, which Jake will also show you for Komiser. So you have to find issues with Hacktoberfest tag on GitHub, and that's how you'll know that okay, this particular project is participating in Hacktoberfest, right? And the period is from September 26 to October 31. So that is the whole month. Anytime you can participate, anytime you can register, right? And the main aim again is to make 4 PRs. You have to make 4 pull requests to a particular project and get that merged. After that merging part, Hacktoberfest team will actually review it, and then it will be added to your particular profile. So I'll show you what the profile also looks like, because I believe I have registered. Let me just, oops. Let me just quickly register, but till that is being done. Okay, so these are the resources. So if you're someone who is completely new to GitHub, who is completely new to open source, so they have also listed on a few resources for you to check out. That can be documentation, it can also be videos, and they have also listed down some manuals, how to write good commits, so all the best practices. So everything is provided for you, and that is why I said previously as well, Hacktoberfest is a great way for someone who has just started in the open source ecosystem, who is just getting started, who just wants to know, hey, let me explore the open source ecosystem and what is it exactly. So Hacktoberfest is a great way for you to get involved. And then some of the best practices, how what PRs can get accepted, how not to make a PR, how to label the PRs, and all that stuff is mentioned there. What things are not to be done. So this is something that we have, because Hacktoberfest is an event where a lot of participants participate, right, from all over the world. So in the previous few years, we have definitely seen a lot of spams, right? So the team each year tries to reduce that number of spams in the pull request, because you definitely need more value to the communities, right? You don't need more spam to the already existing open source projects. So Hacktoberfest, the team makes sure that the pull requests you make add value to the community and are following the standards of that particular project, right? So you really don't want to spam all the repos. And then there is also a note for the maintainers. So there's something magical. If you have a project and you think that it is pretty interesting, you can open source it, and that particular project can also participate in Hacktoberfest. So you can also make your personal projects be a part of Hacktoberfest, and you can invite new contributors. So and then you become a maintainer of that project, right? And this is something for your personal projects and also something for the existing projects. So for Komiser, we have Jake, we also have Avinesh and Shubham, who are the maintainers. Shout out to them, they are doing amazing work. So this is a note for them how they can help managing the communities, how you can collaborate with the maintainers in order to contribute. So everything is mentioned there. And again, this is one of the magical points about open source: low or non code contributions. If you're getting started to open source, and I think I've also mentioned this in one of the podcasts I did with Jake when I was the contributor of the month, thank you for that. This is something that I also mentioned, that whether you're doing code contributions, whether you're starting with non-code, each and every contribution matters, right? You can get involved in a community fixing the documentation, you can get involved in a community adding a new feature in a code way. So it totally depends on you. If you're a beginner, if you don't have that much of tech knowledge that you think, you can still get involved by doing non-code contributions. And we'll show one example to you in later part of the stream, that how valuable a non-code contribution can be. Okay. So yeah, I mean, this is the main idea of Hacktoberfest and why you should get involved. And this is definitely, I mean, Hacktoberfest is just the starting point for you. It works like an entry point for you to get involved in open source. Open source is really vast. So this is a starting point, and I would say it's the beginning of a new journey. And you'll definitely see yourself growing as you participate, and as you contribute to more and more projects. You definitely see yourself growing. I mean, I have grown in terms of public speaking. When I got started into open source, I'll tell you one example. When I got started, we won't be able to have this particular live stream because I was too shy to talk to another person on a Zoom call or even on a Google Meet. I was too shy, right? But with getting involved, with talking to people like Jake, with talking to a global audience and creating content, I gained that confidence to actually host a live stream in my previous internship for almost an hour. So that is how magical these communities can be, and the amount of mindset, the change of mindset that you'll get is amazing. So yeah, that is all about Hacktoberfest. Jake would like to share some thoughts about it, about the points I covered.
Yeah, no, thanks, Million. I think just one topic to touch on before we move on is about any kind of doubts that might be around spam. Like, what is spam? Because I think it's important to point out, because we don't want anyone to put some time into something and then it's labeled as spam. I think there's one kind of simple rule of thumb to follow in order to avoid any spam related labeling, which is just put yourself in the maintainer shoes and think to yourself, am I addressing an issue that is already there? If there's an issue that is already in the repository and you're addressing it and you're collaborating through the comments if that's needed, then more than likely that's going to be an incredibly valuable contribution. Now, say for example, you see something yourself that could be added to the repository. You see something in the README file that it doesn't look right to you, and you want to update it. If you simply create a PR, changing a small line or maybe I don't know, making a grammatical correction or something without kind of asking, or without bringing it up, or without talking with a maintainer about it, then more than likely that's not going to be a Hacktoberfest eligible PR, because even though it's great that if we can add an S, or we can add some sort of a grammar correction, it's a little bit valuable, but really that's not what Hacktoberfest is about. That's not what open source contributions is about in a meaningful way, right? So when in doubt, just attack the issues that are already there. And if you want to address an issue that it doesn't exist already, talk to the maintainers, bring it up with them, and if they share the same idea, they'll open up the issue for you, and you can work on it there. And I think that's the best way to avoid any spam-related issues, because unfortunately, Hacktoberfest is going to have a low tolerance to spam. If you are labeled twice, you're going to be disqualified from Hacktoberfest this year. So yeah, just a heads up.
Yep, love that point. And I think what really would help new contributors when you're getting involved, in order for you to avoid spam, because I can connect with you on the thought that you really don't know how to navigate through a project. You really don't know when you're making a mistake, right? When you're getting started. I made a lot of mistakes, right? It's always a good option to first communicate, as Jake mentioned. So clear communication is always the way for you to go. So very first step would be to joining the Slack or the Discord channel or any kind of communication server that the project has, and try to communicate with the maintainers. Try to get involved with the already people who are contributing. They'll guide you better in order to how you can get started, how you can contribute, and that is the way for you to avoid spam and avoid the things that shouldn't be done. So you don't need to worry if you make mistakes. Making mistakes is something that will help you learn, but it's always good to be clear in your communication. If you're ever facing any doubts, it's always good to clear that out before you make a mistakes, right? So that is something how you can reduce the number of mistakes. I'm not telling you not to make mistakes. Mistakes are always made, but we can always guide you on how to reduce that number of mistakes, right? So yeah, that is something that we got to cover. But anyways, I think, Jake, we can now shift on to how people can participate into Komiser in Hacktoberfest. Maybe you can guide people on participating and how they can get started.
Exactly. Yeah. Just give me 1 second. I'll share my screen. This one over here.
By the way, I see a lot of chat going on, so would love to know who is participating in Hacktoberfest for the very first time. We can maybe write a hey or a green square, if you know what I mean, the GitHub green squares. So maybe you can do that and tell us if you're participating for the very first time.
Perfect. So thanks for that. And looking forward to seeing the comments there in the comment section. But yeah, so the first thing that I would do, apart from obviously checking out the participation section here on the Hacktoberfest and getting registered. Just by the way, a confirmation, you can see the screen, right?
Yep, it's visible to me.
Perfect. So yeah, so then what I would recommend for you to do afterwards is for you to check out the blog post that we have written to get you ramped up on everything that you might need. I'm going to add it here to the comment section, and I'll also add it to the description section of the video that will be uploaded a little bit later on. So right here, you'll see the simple guide of going through how to get set up, how to add your, how to find what issues to work on, and yeah, just simple things to keep in mind. Reading this article kind of takes for granted that you've already decided on contributing through Komiser, but like you should have a look at other projects too. It's recommended for you to branch out and see what else is out there. And as you can probably see right here in the Hacktoberfest participation section, if you go down here, you're going to find this this link, which is the participating Hacktoberfest projects. These are ordered. This is over on GitHub. These are projects that, as Kunal mentioned, have the Hacktoberfest topic. You'll be able to find the topics right here. I'm going to head over to the Komiser repository. These are the topics that each repository has. This is a way for you to quickly see what the repository is about before even jumping in to the README file below.
Jake, sorry to cut you there. Maybe you can zoom in on the screen a bit so that people can see clearly.
Let me just zoom in a little bit. So as you can see here, perfect, thanks. As you can see here, Hacktoberfest is one of the topics. So this is an eligible project that you are going to be able to participate through. But through this link, you're going to be able to find all of the other projects that you'll be able to find open issues for. And this list is organized, is filtered by the amount of stars that the project has. So you'll be sure to find something that is in the stack that you're interested in learning, that is in the area that you're interested in learning, or potentially a project that you might even want to be a user for. So I would definitely recommend checking that out. Secondly, what you're going to want to do is head over and check out the issues. And when you go over to the repository, feel free to just head over to the labels and filter everything out that isn't Hacktoberfest. So we're going to go right here and filter the Hacktoberfest issues. And here you can see that at the moment we have 116 open issues. If you decide to go through the issues today, tomorrow, this week, and you don't find something that you feel like working on, please check in next week, because every single day we're going to be adding new issues. We're going to be growing the open issues that we have here. This is something that usually happens at Komiser. We're always trying to keep the flow of issues coming because the work is never really done. Cool. So you've decided that there's an issue here that looks interesting to you. The first thing that I would definitely recommend before you start working on any coding, you kind of have to wrap your head around what is Komiser in the first place. And the best way for you to kind of deep dive into that a little bit would be to head over to the Tailwarden website, and more specifically to the blog. Here, you're going to find a lot of different blog posts about the problem area that Komiser is situated in, what kind of issues you can resolve with a tool like Komiser. You have the latest feature requests. Maybe browsing these blog posts will give you a little bit more context about what we're dealing with. Once you know a little bit about Komiser, you can then head over to one of these blog posts here, which is how to contribute. Even though a lot of the information that you have here, you're going to be able to find in the blog post that we referenced before, and that will be added to the description. So cool. So once you know what is going on with Komiser and how to contribute, then you might want to start it. You might want to fire it up. So the best way to do that would be to follow the steps over here in the README file. You can also head over to the official documentation, which is at docs.komiser.io. Here, feel free to go to the introduction, then head over to installation. Even though you have the steps written out here, you have videos here. You have some of the videos added to the documentation itself, but if you want to go straight to the source, you can head over to the Tailwarden YouTube channel, where you'll find videos such as how to create non-code contributions. There's the full list here, but you can also find how to contribute to the Komiser dashboard, how to install Komiser itself. So before this, we were talking with Kunal, we can definitely do a better job at creating lists, the playlists, to organize the videos a little bit better. And in the coming days, you'll be able to head over to the Tailwarden channel and filter by beginner playlist. And there you'll be able to find the installation video, how to contribute to the front end, how to contribute to the back end, and all of that. So that would be those would be the best ways to start. Once you feel that you're ready and you want to start you want to start working on your issue, you might find that you might stumble on some issues, you might have some questions. The best thing to do is to then join. Let me just add the link here. If you're not part of the Discord server, the Discord server is where we gather the Komiser community, and you can join it right there at the URL that I just added. And there in the Komiser, oh sorry, I have also our Slack open here. But yeah, over there in the Discord server, you'll be able to find conversations. You'll be able to head over to the Help Komiser channel, to the Hacktoberfest channel, and you'll be able to find all the help that you need. So that's pretty much it with regards to the resources at the contributors' disposal.
Yeah, I think, and all the resources that you shared, I mean, everything that we have covered in the blog and the contributing guide that I'm just going to show you, everything is to make it easy for you to contribute, right? The main aim is to make it easy for you to learn, to make it easy for you to get involved, and to make it easy for you to contribute. That's the main aim of all the resources that Jake just shared and the blog post that was shared on the channel. So I would suggest that make sure to use them at your best, right? Make sure to refer those while you're getting started, and that would actually help you to understand the project better, and it would eventually help you to contribute in a more valuable way. And that's how you would also reduce those spammy PRs. Okay, right? But anyways, I mean, thanks for sharing, Jake. And I think while we are talking about participating into Komiser and getting involved in any open source project, there is a topic of best practices that comes into play, right? So I really want to cover some of the best practices, and these are some things that you can follow in Komiser, and you can also follow this generally when you are contributing to any open source project this Hacktoberfest, right? If you're getting involved in any other project, or if you're getting involved in Komiser, these are some of the best practices that you should definitely keep in mind, and you should definitely follow them when you're getting involved. So I'll start with the first one. The first one, I've actually written down those right in front of me, so I don't forget. So the very first one is, I recommend finding a project that resonates with you, or the project seems interesting to you, right? This is the very first step. You have to find a project, right? You have to find a project to contribute. So that's how you find a project. You go to GitHub, like Jake mentioned. You can search on GitHub, search on the projects that are there, right? And the top projects that are there, and see, like, just browse. Take 1 day, take 2 days, and browse through the projects. See the project that resonates with you, or the idea seems interesting to you. That's how I got to know about Tailwarden. That's how I got involved in, because the idea seemed interesting to me, right? So that's how you pick a project. You don't need to be in a rush, right? You don't need to be, okay, I need to find a project right now, I need to get started right now. It's not a sprint. Open source is a marathon, right? You start slow, and then you speed up a little in the middle while making contributions. So that's how you can find a project, right? That's how you can get involved in a project you would like to get involved. The next thing I would recommend for you to do is fiddle with the project a bit. Try to install it on your local system, right? Try to know what the project does, right? This is the next step that you should do before even looking at any other issue, before even seeing the code base, I would say. Try to fiddle with the project a bit, try to see how it works, try to understand the project, and side by side you can also join the Discord or the Slack server and communicate with the team if you ever face any issues. I remember in the morning, there was a person on the Discord channel. They were trying to install Komiser, and they were having issues. So there were people there to help them, right? But that's how you get to know the community. That's how you get started with the project. You try to install it on your local system. You have any doubts, you reach out to the people, you reach out to the maintainers. That's how you build the connections, and that's how you get involved. Try to fiddle with a project a bit and try it on your local system, see how that works. Then comes the next point, right? Now that you know how a project works, right, and the idea seems interesting to you and you want to get involved, then comes the next step, which is the contributing guide. And I would like to call it, I don't know if you will be able to resonate, the people in the chat will be able to resonate with that, but I like to call it the Bible of any open source project. Because a contributing guide should be the first place you should refer to when you are getting started with any open source project out there. And while I'm talking about it, I'll just share my screen because I really want to show you the contributing guide for Komiser. And in there, everything we have mentioned for you to get started with Komiser in terms of contributions. Cool. Let me just share my screen. Just give me a second. Let me know if you have any questions yet till now, or are we good?
No, I think no questions so far. I think we're good. The only thing is I can't see your screen just yet, but I think it's coming.
Yeah,
there we go.
I'm just presenting. Yep.
Perfect.
Cool. I'll just increase the font size a bit.
Nice.
Is that good? Or a bit more?
No, that's perfect.
Yeah. So cool. So this is the contributing guide of Komiser. And in here, if you're getting started, I would highly recommend you to go through this. It has everything you need to get started. It has everything you need. It basically provides you a path which you can follow in order to contribute to any part of Komiser. And let's go through this quickly one by one. And you can also, maybe Jake, you can also link it to the chat for everyone to see, and you can read it on your free time as well. But let's go through it quickly. So there are two ways in which you can get started. If you, for example, if you have been using the project for a while and you think there can be, if you have tested the project locally and you think, okay, this is something, a feature can be added, right? So you can, the thing that we always recommend is to get in touch with the team, get in touch with the maintainers by joining the Discord server and discussing your major feature ideas, right? This is the thing when you have like a major feature in your mind that you want to contribute to. But if you're just getting started, if you just want to do some, if you find some bugs or you want to fix some minor, you want to fix some minor things, so you can create an issue for this. By the way, the very first thing we recommend here is to check the existing issues. As Jake already mentioned, that we have a lot of issues right now, and this is generally which are not even Hacktoberfest tagged, but the issues which are Hacktoberfest tagged as well. For those, I'll always recommend you to checking out the existing issues before creating a new issue. It might be the case that the bug you found, someone else would have found that bug and they've already created an issue and would have already been working there, right? So now this is again a situation where a spam can exist. I'll tell you how. In Hacktoberfest, as you know, a lot of contributors contribute, right? And there can be instances where on a single issue, a lot of people are interested to contribute to. So you can see, person number one would message, hey, I'm interested. Then a person number two would message, hey, I'm also interested. So how you can reduce the spam here is, that's how you can stand apart from the crowd. What you can do is, for example, in Komiser, you find an issue, right, where already a contributor has been working, right? What you can do is, if you are interested to contribute to that particular issue, you can maybe message there, or you can write down a comment saying, hey, to the contributor who has been contributing, if you are saying, hey, I am interested to contribute here, are you still working on this issue, or is it open to be taken, right? Or if you are working, I would love to collaborate, right? Now three things can happen here. Number one, the contributor would say, hey, I am working, so then you would know, okay, then I need to find another issues to contribute, right? The second thing would be they would agree for you to collaborate with them, and that's how you can get involved more, right? And that's how you'll learn. And the third thing can be, they'll say, hey, I'm still contributing, and maybe you can take up another issue. That's how you can reduce the spam. What you did different was, you did not sort of fight over an issue. You commented down your thoughts, you commented down you want to collaborate in a very polite way, and that's how you can reduce spam. And that would be, as maintainers, seeing this particular environment really means a lot to the team as well, and it really makes our life easy, right? This is sort of the main guidelines. Then we come on to the general contribution flow. This is very specific to the people who are very new to open source, right? How to fork a repo, and the basic fork and pull request flow, how you can do it, how to fork a repo, how to create a new branch, right? So for the branch conventions, we have the conventions, we have the naming conventions for the branch that we always recommend the new contributors to follow, right? So for example, if you are working on a feature, right, so we always recommend following this kind of convention for your feature branch. So it goes like feature / XXX is the issue number. So that's how you'll know, okay, I have to create an issue first before getting started to work on something, right? So issue number and then name of that particular feature. There is an example given here. For example, feature 1022 is the issue number and kube cost integration. So that's how you should always label, or this is the branch naming convention that you should always follow, right? And the same goes for bug fixes. It goes like fix / and all that same stuff. And then we can go through this particular thing. Anyways, this, if you're already contributing to a project, you would definitely know this part as well. Now comes on to the interesting part. This is the part where we go on telling you what are the different areas in Komiser that you can contribute. So there are basically 3 areas in which you can get involved. The number 1 is the Komiser engine. So the Komiser engine, or the backend part, right? So the main tool of Komiser is written in Golang, right? So if you're someone, I would love to know in the chat if anyone is working in Golang, or if anyone is interested to test out their Golang skills. This is the area for you. So you got to pay attention here, right? So if you're familiar with Golang, or if you want to increase your skills in Golang, this is the part where you can contribute to. So in this section, we have mentioned everything you need. Firstly, how you can install Komiser, step 1, step 2, all the things are mentioned in each step in order for you to install Komiser on your local system. Then we come on to the ways of contributing, right? So there are essentially 3 ways to contribute to a Komiser engine. Jake mentioned in the, I remember Jake mentioning this previously as well, that Komiser is a cloud agnostic resource manager, right? So what do we mean by cloud agnostic is that it can integrate with any cloud provider out there. It's not specific to a certain cloud provider, right? So right now we are supporting, the big 3, Azure, AWS, and GCP. We also have DigitalOcean, the private cloud providers like DigitalOcean, Civo, Tencent Cloud, and all those cloud providers. But we definitely need more, because there are a lot of cloud providers being introduced into the community, right? So we would definitely need Komiser to be integrated with those as well, right? So the number 1 way can be, you can add a new cloud provider, right? For example, you found that Komiser is not supporting this particular cloud provider. So feel free to discuss it with us on the Discord server, and feel free to discuss your idea with that. And then you can go ahead and create an issue and start working on adding an entirely new cloud provider, right? And all the steps for you to do this are mentioned here. So the boilerplate code you need, the folder that you need to change, the file that you need to name, and all that. We have also given some of the existing examples that you can refer to for getting the idea of how the structuring is happening. But essentially, all the steps you need in order to get started are mentioned here in the contributing guide only, right? So it would make things easy for you. The second way to get started would be to add a cloud service. Now, if you are familiar with the cloud providers, you would definitely know that there are a lot of services that are involved, right? We have main services, then we have subgroups of those services, and all those work differently. And the costs of those services are calculated in a different manner. So for Komiser to be able to bring all those particular different kind of costs into a single dashboard, we would need more and more cloud services and more cloud resources to be integrated, right? So the second way you can contribute is adding a new cloud service, adding a new cloud resource. And I believe we have a lot of issues for that. So if you see these Hacktoberfest issues, we have a lot of issues for adding the cloud services. So you can see support Linode LKE node. You can also see Amazon RDS. So you can add a new cloud you can add a new cloud service or a cloud resource. And again, we have also provided the boilerplate code that you would need to get started. And you can also refer to the existing examples of people who have actually contributed and get inspiration of how you can get started. And we always have the Discord server if you want to ask doubts, because you want to help you in order to get started, right? We want to help you improve the Komiser, because you are the contributors that makes up the entire developer community. So we want to help you in order to improve the tool, right? This was how you can contribute to the Komiser engine, the backend part. I would love to know in the chat if anyone is excited right now to contribute to the Komiser engine. Would love to know your name and would love to see you on the Discord server. Cool. The next part is, I hope I'm not going too fast. Jake, let me know before I move on.
No, I think the speed is good. I think we can move on to the dashboard and then give a quick example, just so we don't take too much time. But yeah.
Yep. Sure, no worries. So the second part is contributing to the dashboard, right? As I mentioned, the Komiser, is a resource manager. It's a cloud agnostic resource manager, and it would show all the resources that you have right now running on your cloud provider on a really nice dashboard. The dashboard looks something like this. So you can contribute to this very dashboard. It's open source, right? So if you're someone who's interested in front-end development, if you're a front-end engineer working in a company, or you are genuinely interested in the front-end tech stack like Next.js, TypeScript, Tailwind. So this is the tech stack that Komiser dashboard actually uses. So if you know any of this, you can get involved. Even if you are familiar with the very basics of Next.js, even if you are familiar with the very basics of JavaScript, you can still get involved, because that's how you learn, because you will have an aim in mind. Ki, hey, I want to learn this, I want to contribute. So I should learn, I should learn this tech stack, and then I should also apply it on Komiser, right? So this is the tech stack that we are following, and you can still get involved even if you know the basics, right? So all the steps that are mentioned, setting up the development environment, how you can set up this particular dashboard on your local system, and then everything, understanding the UI components, testing your changes, and the all that things are clearly mentioned in the contributing guide. So essentially, we are at the end here. Essentially, my main aim was to make you understand that contributing guide is very important, right? You should definitely go through this, and you should certainly refer to this again and again if you get stuck anywhere, and if you think that you're missing some kind of a step, or you feel that you need some kind of clearance on any of this particular steps. You can definitely go through this. Yep, I think, Jake, we have covered this topic.
No, that's perfect. And yeah, just one last thought there. I was reading another blog post from another project that's participating in Hacktoberfest this year, and the author wrote a really good line. I'll try to mention his name in the description, but he said that not follow as a contributor, not following the contributing guidelines is almost like going to someone's house and rearranging their furniture. So like there are rules, and those rules are there not just because we're weird about the way we like things. No, it's because with groups in which multiple people are contributing at one time, that following the rules is the best way for everyone to participate, and for the project to work really.
Yep, I definitely agree. And the contributing guide that you see here is very specific to Komiser. So why I mentioned to go through the contributing guide of every project, because every project is different. Every open source project would have different styles, different guidelines. So in their contributing guide, they mention all of this stuff, right? So if you know this prior to getting started, if you know if you know all these particular rules and all these particular guidelines prior to getting started in your contributions, you would have a much smoother journey, and you would you would be actually helping the maintainers for reviewing your PRs, and the overall process would be quite smooth for you. I believe, yeah, this is the very first thing that you should always refer to in any open source project that you get involved in.
Agreed.
Cool. I think I think we are short on time, Jake. I'll just cover one last point in the best practices that I want to mention. The last would be respectful, right? Again, this is the best practices, and as silly as it sounds, it is one of the most important ones. Being respectful and being empathetic to the community, the people who you are interacting with, right? Because as I mentioned, many people are participating in and the events like Hacktoberfest, and sometimes things can get a little bit heat up, right? You will see a lot of people commenting on an issue, and you will sometimes get frustrated. Hey man, I'm not getting any issue to contribute to, everyone is already contributing to, I am late. You'll definitely have those thoughts, but I'll tell you, if you're respectful, if you are being patient, if you are collaborating with people in a kind manner, right, and if you are going through the rules, if you're going through the guidelines, you will have one of the most smooth journeys in contributing to Hacktoberfest. Trust me on this one. I have done this, and I've seen the results, and it would blow your mind. So the last point would be being respectful, and be respectful to the time that the maintainers are giving, in order to review your PRs, and in order to make it smoother for you in order to contribute. So yeah, that was my last point as a best practice to follow.
Perfect. Yeah, and I know that we were going to talk about an example of a PR that would, and we would show like all the steps involved, specifically a PR that you got merged this week relative to the docs. But since we're a little bit short on time, maybe what we can do, if it's okay with you, we can just add it maybe to the description. We can show the PR there. Yeah, because if not, we might go a little bit too much over the time.
Yeah, sure, sounds good. I mean, everything that I did in the PR is adhering to the contributing guide. So if you follow that, you understand the PR that I made. That is the lesson. So you can
exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah. So apart from that, the only thing left on my side would be. Yeah, if you do enjoy contributing to Komiser, please let us know on Discord. Let us know if you have any feedback, any feature expansions that you might have in mind. All of that feedback is always really, really appreciated. And if you don't have any particular feedback, but you still want to support us, simply giving us a star on GitHub is always a great way to support us also. And in other news, this month, it's also going to be jam-packed full of activities, especially on the 17th of October. And that's when we're going to launch Komiser on Product Hunt. If you're not familiar with Product Hunt, it's a site where you can find new projects that are being launched publicly. And this is kind of like an unveiling of sorts. Project maintainers pretty much saying, hey, we're ready for a new level of visibility. And since we're launching on the 17th, we're always open to people helping us out. And if you do feel like Komiser deserves a bit of visibility on that day, I'm just going to share a link with you all, which is a link where you can get notified when the launch happens. And if you can't support us on the day, then that would be absolutely great too. So that's mainly it on my side. Kunal, anything else on yours?
Yeah, I think we have covered it all, and I would love to see you all participating in Hacktoberfest and in Komiser if you are, if the project interests you and if you find it, something that you should definitely explore. So I would love to see you on the Discord server, and you'll actually see me contributing beside you because I'm also new to the community and I'll be learning. I mean, I'm, to be honest, interested to contribute on the Komiser engine because I haven't done that till now. I'm interested to level up my Golang skills. So you'll definitely see me contributing beside you, and yeah, we'll all learn together and grow and try to grow the project together. So feel free to join the Discord and would be happy to see you there.
That's exactly the spirit. I'm also going to be pushing myself with some front end related tasks.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to join us, we'll see you in the community or on the GitHub issues board. Everyone, thanks a million for joining us live. This will also be uploaded to YouTube just a little bit later on for posterity. So thanks a million. Enjoy your Hacktoberfest this year. That's the most important thing overall, to have a good time while you learn and meet other people and get a few badges in the meantime. That's always nice. So everybody, thanks a million. See you on Discord and have a good one.
Awesome. Bye, everyone.
All the best. Bye-bye.